Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Joy of the Hobby podcast, episode 19 in the Central Credentials production. We're very happy to be here. I've got my buddy Ben, of course, best bud in the hobby, and our buddy Luke, the one and only, who is not going to be checking in the comments. He's going to be checking in by joining us tonight. So, real happy to have everybody here. We're going to be taking a look at a specific game that we came up with a couple weeks ago from the suggestion of Ben, and Luke was excited to join us. So before we get into that, I'm going to throw it to you, Ben. Ben, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing very well. I'm fortunate that I'm off work tomorrow, so today feels like an extra free Saturday, which I spent doing yard work and chores. But still, I get an extra day tomorrow, and the weather's gotten really nice. It's turned into fall weather, so I'm feeling good. How you doing, Luke?
I'm doing great. Got the day off tomorrow too, so who knows what I'm going to be doing.
Yes.
There you go. Well, now I'm jealous of both of you guys. Although I love going into work every single day, just like you guys do, but for different reasons. So I'm excited to be here too. I made a 5-hour drive back from Arizona today, and I left on time to make sure I could make it for this episode. That's dedication. I didn't want to miss what we're doing today because it's something new and something exciting. So I'm going to throw it to Luke to start here. We always start every episode talking about what's currently bringing us joy in the hobby or just joy in general. But what's been bringing you joy in the hobby the last couple of weeks here, Luke?
I think I'm supposed to introduce myself by simply saying David Mercer. Is that how it goes?
That's it.
But no, really the last 2 weeks since the last episode, what's been bringing me joy in a hobby is going off on this challenge that we've been doing. I haven't come across any Larkin cards that I'm looking for. And you sort of just have to wait until they show up. But this challenge has been kind of fun. So that's what's been bringing me joy. When we get into the cards, I'll talk a little bit about why that is, but I've been having a good time the last couple of weeks.
That's awesome. That's all we can hope for from this. And again, big shout out to Ben. I know you're going to talk a little bit about what this challenge/game is that we're doing, but big props to you. And, you and I kind of morphed it into what it is, but I love coming up with new ways to enjoy the hobby, especially on a budget, as the title of this episode alludes to. But what about you, Ben? What's been bringing you joy in the hobby the last couple weeks?
First thing, I have to echo Luke in saying I came up with this idea, challenge game, whatever you want to call it. And I didn't realize that it would just consume me for the last 2 weeks. Like, I'll actually show. I picked up one Ichiro card the last 2 weeks because my whole focus was on our challenge. This is one of the season stat lines, Ichiro, and these are
sick card.
But the foil is just so nice on these early 2000s Donruss. And this one's RBIs, which was 62, so nice low number.
Okay. Nice.
Just a great design. And anytime I see one of those of Ichiro, I'm going to pick it up. The stat lines from those early years are all incredible. So that was the one card I picked up. And then I want to show off this. The other thing that's been bringing me joy, kind of related to the hobby, is I'll say acquaintance / old friend. This guy, Matt Davis, wrote this book called Big Bad Wolf. He just released it. And you can see this is Ted Williams on the cover. And he's actually hitting a baseball off of like a really high tee box in the mountains of North Carolina. He was doing like a promo in the 70s for his like Sears gear that was sold to Sears. And the whole story is about these kids. I would say it's like a mix of Sandlot and Stephen King-ish. So the whole premise of the story is these 6 kids in the 70s go to see Ted Williams. He kind of fudges the story and says Ted Williams is gonna hit this ball off a cliff into the woods. And everyone gathers around in the town. He hits the ball into the woods. They can't get Ted Williams' signature. And they go, hey, let's wander off into the woods and try to find the ball. And so they wander into the woods. And
cool.
Stuff happens. And they're all kids that are like Sandlot age that are big baseball fans. So it's I'm about halfway through it already. I just started reading it last night and I can't put it down. So highly recommended.
Awesome. I love it, man. I love that there's a couple there's a non-hobby thing in there. I got to say hi to my buddy Name. Thanks for making it. Sure appreciate it. I know you got lots going on, so thanks for dropping in. And of course, another hockey collector, Jeff. Welcome. happy start of hockey season to you both. Well, I'll start off with a non-hobby thing. Kind of last minute, I didn't find out I was going to the expo, which if anybody here knows, the expo in Toronto every fall is like the National, but it's mostly hockey cards. So you can imagine my thrill being able to go to work for Upper Deck, but also just being able to go in general for the first time. So it was all hinging on my passport getting here. And not only did I get it this weekend, but I got here a week in advance. So I'm really, really happy to have that and know that I'll be able to go on this trip, and just it'll be crazy, and I'll be super tired after I'm done, but I'm really excited to go there. And there's something really cool that I get to do when I'm there that ties into just the start of the hobby for me, but I don't want to say anything about it until after it happens, because again, you never know, maybe he doesn't come or something else happens. So I'll save it for afterwards. But the one card that's been bringing me joy is when I was first collecting A-Rod, and now I'm buying cards that I really loved back, not the original ones, but the same card, is, which ones really made me feel something when I looked at them. And I always remember growing up in the 90s, liking cards with multiple players on it. Some of my favorite players, some of the best players in the hobby. And this is a card that I continually came back to trying to find. And I was happy that I was able to find a copy of it raw. And so I was able to get that over the weekend. And come on, 90s refractors are amazing. We all know that. But to have Alex and Nomar and Derek all on the same card, those are the three iconic shortstops, young shortstops of the 90s. And obviously, Cal
I'm going to say you're missing one iconic shortstop.
Yeah, well, young shortstops. Cal was toward the end of his career. Barry was still in the end of the prime of his career. And then you had some other really talented players, but these three all kind of came up together. And more or less, Alex and Derek and Nomar all within a year or two of each other. And they were all fantastic hitters, some better defensively than others, but I really just loved the design of this card, especially the little details in the middle here, like little bumps, quote unquote. So yeah, I love that I was able to get this for half what the price that was listed for, because I didn't lowball him, but he was high on the price. So you know how that goes when you're trying to get the card for what it's kind of worth, but you don't want to offend the seller in a way. So I think he listed it extra high on purpose, and I'm very glad that he accepted. So yeah, that was the non-card for this challenge that I wanted to share, because it's got all three of the best young shortstops at the time. Cool. Awesome. Well, now that we're all here, we're going to spend most of the episode kind of getting into this challenge per se. And I was trying to think of what to call this, you know what I mean? And the episode title, I was finding joy on a budget was the first thing I could come up with. And who knows, maybe we'll find something that fits it better in the future. But I'm going to throw it to you, Ben. Can you kind of rehash for those who haven't heard it and those who maybe have, but kind of rehash what exactly we did over the last 2 weeks since the end of the last episode?
Yeah, so I was mulling over another way we could gamify or introduce fun to the hobby that would maybe be outside of our traditional collecting lane for us. We're either maybe a PC, a player or a team, or a specific type of collecting. I was wondering if there's another way we could get into collecting and learn or play with cards in a way that would be outside of our comfort zone a little bit, or our standard collecting, right?
Right.
And so when mulling that over and you and I talking, we kind of came up with the idea of finding a product that we could dive into and spend a specified amount of money getting any number of cards, any type of cards we wanted from that product, inserts, parallels, base cards even from that product, under a specified budget. So we decided we came up with a $30 budget. Buy whatever you want to under $30 from that product, do your research, find what you think is really cool, and try to keep it under $30 all in.
Right.
And we said any sport. So I chose baseball. I think Luke went with baseball. And then you decided you were going to go with hockey for yours.
Right. And I needed to be a little more lenient with that, because I believe we chose 96, or is it 97 Ultra?
We chose 97 Ultra.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for baseball, you guys have a much wider range there. And looking at 96, 97 Ultra hockey, it was a very basic set. And just kind of looking at what the others had to offer previously, as far as a variety of elements, I knew that I could stay within my budget and not be I bought this iconic card from 93 and the rest of them are terrible. I really did a good job of not seeming like I, dipped back too much. So what was your kind of like, I'm kind of curious too, like Luke, when you heard this, you seem pretty enthused about it. Like what was it about this challenge that made you feel like, yeah, I want, this is something I want to participate in?
I mean, I love collecting cards, and while my collection is very, very laser focused on the Reds in particular,
Mhm.
I love all kinds of cards. And one thing that I've learned in my Larkin journey is that he's not in everything. And so there are a lot of really cool sets out there that I miss out on, and not collecting them. So when I thought, well, let me go into this challenge where I'm not going to find Larkin. For instance, in 97 Ultra, there are how many insert sets? A lot of insert sets. Fleer Ultra was big into making inserts one per pack and all this stuff. And so Barry Larkin is in literally one insert set,
Oh
the
yeah.
fielder's choice.
Mhm.
And so that's the only card that Larkin has in 97 Ultra. So this gave me an opportunity to dig into some sets that I otherwise wouldn't have been looking at.
Awesome. Awesome. And especially like, when we decided on Flare Ultra, I think we can all agree, right? Ben and Luke, like Flare Ultra is like insert central. You know what I mean? Alan's
Oh
talked about
yeah.
how much he loves going for all the gold medallions. Greg loves Flare Ultra, especially the photo variation on the platinum medallions. Like,
Mhm.
the previous people that have been on here also love it. So I felt like it was the easiest choice because I knew it was going to offer us a variety of different avenues for us to focus on, whether it was photography, design, inserts, parallels, teams. Like you could have gone any direction with this as opposed to us saying it's going to be 91 Flare Ultra or 91 Flare. Like sometimes you almost get too many options. So we tried to focus it, but also give room for there to be a variety of ways for us to kind of approach it. So I'm gonna start with you, Ben. Like what was your approach when we decided on 97 Ultra? I know you said that last 2 weeks you felt consumed with this, but like what kind of approach did you decide upon?
Yeah, I guess first thing to say, I think that was the fun that I was trying to bring by doing a game like this is exactly to Luke's point. There might be, if your player is Tony Gwynn, whoever, you might look over for Tony Gwynn ultra cards and you go, oh, he's not in this insert set, this insert set, this insert set doesn't have one of
Go
these.
right
And you just
past them,
you
right?
totally pass them. You never look at the card, never even look at the
For sure.
design or what it did. And this gave you an opportunity to go, okay, what is every single thing that's available in this set? So my
Mhm.
strategy was Baseball Cardpedia. You get on there right away. You start digging in, doing your research, and you look in. And to Matt's point, Ultra is a great choice because they even have not only a number of inserts, but different inserts in Series 1 and Series 2, right? So you have
Yeah.
all these choices of different designs. Some are retail, some are hobby. So all these like really nuanced variables that you really have to like do your homework to kind of
Yeah.
decide where you're going to start and really look at like high res scans or something of every card and kind of decide like, is this something that really strikes me? And do I want to kind of go with this? So I Baseball Cardpedia kind of made a short list of what I thought would be really cool to like start looking into or go after.
Okay.
Then started doing like a quick kind of price point on average of like the average player and each insert set, like what's that price going for, and started kind of pricing out if I did this and this and this, do I go out to $30 with shipping, kind of find something that's a decent price, but for sure is going to be shipped PWE for like $1. I started like looking at every shipping price. How can I get this thing for the cheapest overall cost possible? And of course, when you start doing your searching, the next step is save your searches. You save this kind of search, you misspell one thing a little bit and save that search. You start
That's
just
funny.
saving your searches and looking for like the deals, right? So my whole
Right.
strategy was make my short list, first do my research, make my short list of the things I thought were really attractive or interesting, then start saving my searches and just looking for like deals for those cards. And then really saving a few from like a few different options and kind of like sitting on it, then going back and looking again, right? Like not pulling the trigger right away. Because a lot of these, to be honest, I went like pretty low cost on these, so there was a lot of options available.
Right.
And it's like I don't have to smash the bin right now. I can like sit on this for an hour or two, kind of think about it, go back and look at the pictures again. Is this really the one I like? So it gave me a second to
Right.
like pause and really think about what I was doing before I pulled the trigger on anything.
I like that. I like that a lot because I know that we were kind of under a time crunch. Like if we had a month for this, I think I would have saved some searches too and like waited for stuff to pop up. But because we were on a $30 budget, I knew what I was going to go for when I decided. Now I want to throw it to Luke because Luke, you brought up something I've mentioned to Ben before.
Mhm.
Luke, what was the like reference point that you made with this challenge? Because there was something that Beckett used to do that Ben and I have chatted about. Can you remind everybody what that is?
Yeah, it sort of started because like then my process was first things first, I want to go to Baseball Cardpedia because I need to familiarize myself with what all the sets are out there for 97 Ultra. Because like I said, Larkin's not in very many of them at all. So I have also another thing that's been bringing me joy in the hobby, unrelated to all of this, and it happened a while back, but I started going through and collecting all of the old Beckett magazines from the 90s and early 2000s in complete runs. They're in binders on a shelf where I can just pull it out and month by month go through a year. And while Baseball Cardpedia is awesome because it gives you all of the data and breakdowns of the sets, it's really neat to see it in the time frame when it's happening.
Mhm.
And as these sets are released, you see the hype around them, you see the write-ups that they write about them, and give you the product information. So I've been spending time reading the old Beckett magazines, and I remembered the old section that they would have each month called C Note, where they would basically, unlike this challenge where we actually went out and bought the cards, they would ask readers to write in and tell them what would you purchase right now this month that's hot in the market or that you care about or that you really like if we gave you a C note or $100 bill to go do that. And so, not gonna lie, I'm a bit of a cheater when it comes to these kind of things. And so I was inspired by the C note challenge, and it was one of those things where as soon as I looked at what was available in 97 Ultra, there was one set that immediately drew my attention. That was something I had to chase. As a baseball card lover, I'm a baseball card lover because, well, one, because of all the nostalgia of collecting as a kid and those things, but I'm a baseball card collector today because I'm a baseball lover first.
Mhm.
And so one set really drew me into the love of the sport itself of baseball. And so that's where my focus went immediately. And I was like, all right, this $30 challenge is nice. Most of these cards that I was tracking down were a couple dollars each, no big deal. I could complete most of the set for $30. But there were one in particular, but a couple that would push me over that limit. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to view this as sort of the C note challenge. Yes, most of this will fit into the $30 budget, but adding these other cards is going to put me over. But I discovered very quickly that I could chase this particular set that has a connection to me, and I could put the whole set together
That's
Mhm.
cool.
for the challenge
Yeah.
today. And so that's what I did for the last couple of weeks. I set out to put this entire set together,
That's cool.
and so
Wow.
I am
that
so
was
pumped,
my
and
process.
to the audience, I do not know what the set is, and I have Baseball Cardpedia pulled
Of
up.
course, that you start looking, you cheater.
I'm like, what set could it be? I'm so curious.
That's funny. Before we get going here, Ben, do you see any other comments besides the three? I just want to make sure that they're loading correctly. It's still the
No,
three
that's it.
comments,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
Mhm.
good. Well, I just want to I know this is not an episode where we can like necessarily get a lot of input from people, but I'll throw one out there to the viewers for the baseball side of things. If you were to be doing this challenge for 97 Flair Ultra Baseball, what is the one insert set that you would probably go buy a card or two from for this challenge? Because I want to test people's knowledge on that set. You know, hockey is kind of my forte. I know there's a couple hockey guys in here, and maybe they'll agree with my choices, but I know the baseball set 97 is when the ingenuity and technology really started blossoming. Like even
Mhm.
that Fielder's Choice that Luke held up, it's a leather feeling card. They could really start making cards feel certain ways. And so Obviously, I wish Gene was here to provide some insight. If we all did baseball, it would be kind of fun to have Gene here to
Yeah.
talk about the process, but we'll do that in the future for sure. So, if you were to be doing this, what 97 Flair Ultra card would you buy, either from baseball or hockey? Love to see some input. Well, I'll share super quick my approach, and then we can kind of jump into a couple things and start showing some cards. But for me, 90s hockey was what I started with. That was where I first started collecting as a kid. And I remember getting some packs of Flair Ultra and just loving the design of those cards early on. They were pretty iconic. Jocelyn Tebow's rookie, the little gold deco thing that said rookie card, or just rookie, not rookie card, but rookie at the top of the card. It was super cool, and I wish that Tebow would have came. So I do have one, but I didn't want to cheat and show a card that I owned already. So so that was cool, and I just really had fun going and finding some cards that I never had as a kid. But my approach was to buy cards that I could have afforded as a kid, and I made one really lowball offer on a Gretzky that the guy instantly said no to. So if you're watching, sorry, but I stayed within $30. I actually came in under $30, and all the cards I have in front of me now, or that I scanned, all I could have obtained most likely as a kid, at least some of them. So that's kind of my approach to it. And I love that we all took different approaches. Luke with the set idea,
Yep.
You had a different, kind of biding your time, hoping for another to get listed. And I just went out and got them all within 2 hours and had them all shipped here because I wanted them all to arrive on time,
Yep.
So I think that was definitely the best part. But I'm going to throw a question out to Luke and then Ben. My first question is, were there any surprises along the way for you that you had going through this process? Like anything that kind of popped into your head, like maybe underwhelming, overwhelming, like what kind of surprise happened during this process, Luke?
Wow. I don't know that I can necessarily recall any surprises. As we get into it, and I'll talk about the process of purchasing some of the cards, I got all of the cards except one very quickly, found them cheap, no big deal. There was one card in the set that there had been several auctions in the past 2 or 3 months, lots of them. And it was the Griffey, and it ranged from $15 to $40 at auction in that window the whole time. But during this window of the challenge, these 2 weeks, there weren't any currently up for auction at the time. There were 2 that were up for buy it now for like $145. Many, many times what they sell for on the open market. So I had a save search. I'm looking for the Griffey, waiting for one to pop up at a reasonable price, and one shows up for auction. It's like a 6-day auction. It starts at 99 cents. So I'm just following this auction, hoping that as soon as this goes through, maybe I'll get this card at a reasonable price, and it'll be here by the time that the episode takes place. So this card, for whatever reason, because it's probably my fault, because I put out some feelers on some various places saying, hey, I'm looking for this card. And all of a sudden, a card that at auction has been going for $15 or $20 multiple times over the last few months sells for $80 at auction. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm not paying $80 for this $15 card. So that was a shocker to me. Is the card that I was looking for all of a sudden tripled in price during this challenge. Thankfully, I let that one go and found a listing of somebody who had listed a whole bunch of Griffey inserts in one listing, so the picture wasn't this card, and you had to click in the drop down menu and scroll through all this guy's Griffey cards, and I found one that was listed for cheap, and so I was able to track the Griffey down that way because nobody else was paying attention to that listing. But the pricing on that one has got a little crazy in the last 2 weeks, and I don't know why, but that was definitely a surprise.
Wow. Yeah, that's that's no surprise though. In a way, of course that would happen, right, Ben?
Yeah. Welcome to the Griffey market, where any given day a Griffey could be really desired by 3 or 4 people that are willing to pay 4x what it's worth. That is the Griffey market.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
For me, surprises. When I was going through and trying to find, like, again, I think I stuck in the same lane as you, Matt. Like trying to find cards that I could have afforded as a kid and finding like the best deal for those cards that I think looked really cool.
Right.
The market for Hall of Fame baseball players that are all of time greats that aren't Griffey or like Bonds or a few other players is so incredibly cheap. It's unbelievable. Like I was able to get,
Right.
I mean, I think every card I got is a Hall of Famer, and some of them I was able to get for a couple bucks. It's crazy. It's just such a surprise to see like the drop off from the, class 1A chase people to like really, really good. Like I'll say one of the cards I picked up, unfortunately, it's the one that didn't get shipped to me, but I still have a picture of it that's should arrive. Was an Eddie Murray that I got for $4. He hit 500 home runs. He's an all-time great. $5 for a very rare card is just unbelievable. It really like puts things in perspective.
Right. No, it is. It is kind of wild that some of the prices out there. There was a lot of cheap Wayne Gretzky's, but I kind of chalk it up to just the amount of how many there are out there, but also everybody's eyes are so focused on modern right now with the way that the collecting, psyche has shifted to just seeing what the new modern sets are, that they get overlooked, and it works out to our benefit. I mean, just like Luke, I love going back to old Beckett's, and I prefer Sports Card Magazine, that like in that late 90s window, because they had some of the like more realistic high prices, but also realistic low prices. And some of the stuff, man, some of these cards that we have now, I bet were worth quite a bit back when they first came out in the first couple of years. And it's just crazy to think how cheap they are. But I don't know if our comments aren't working or whatever. Normally we have a lot more chit chat in the comment section. So I hope everything's working all right. But I feel like we should jump right into categories. What we basically, I'll let Ben describe it. So Ben, how did we approach showing these cards off before we get into it?
So I think the way we're going to start showing these off is go through a couple categories. So I don't even mind starting the category, saying mine, and then we can just work kind of in a circle. I'll go like me, Matt, and then Luke, you can show. Well, I don't know how you want to do it, Luke, because
mine don't really fit in the categories. So.
I was going to say yours don't really fit any categories. I wonder if there's going to be another way we can tuck yours in, because the second you show off one, it'll be like, hey, that's the set. I've been waiting for that reveal.
Right. I wonder, Luke, if maybe we'll have you can go first and talk about the set, but then within that, maybe talk a little bit about like this one player, like maybe if you can find a way to separate them as far as like, this is the one you started with, or this is the one card that you saw, then you decided to go for it. This one was the hardest to find. Like you talked about the Griffey already. So stuff like that, maybe you could separate it and talk about it that way, if that works for you.
Okay.
Okay, sweet. Well, without further ado, Ben, shall we start with Luke, the set collector, we're going to call him now?
Yeah. So
I'm so pumped for this.
Yeah, me too.
I put together this entire set, and like I said before, I'm not a collector of anything other than the red. So, frankly, my thought process was I'm going to put together this set, and then we can maybe give it away or something on the episode or on your website or something. To some viewer, and I'm happy to just ship it to somebody for free. But as I was immediately looking at the listing of various sets on Baseball Cardpedia from 97 Ultra, the one that jumped out to me first is it has everything that a 90s insert set should have: die cut, foil. When you feel it, there's actually some texture to it, not like the leather where it feels like leather, but when you feel it, there's like embossing to the design itself, so it just, you can feel it when you touch the cards.
I know it too. As soon as you said that, I was like, I got it.
But like I said, for me though, it was about my love of the sport, and as soon as I saw this card, this is about less about the front of the cards than the back of the cards. And we're
interesting.
The current hobby, they don't put anything on the back of cards anymore. The nice cool inserts and autograph sets. There's just a blurb that says, "Congratulations, you got an autograph."
Yeah.
And so there's no real cool information other than your typical flagship set that's going to have some stats and maybe a little blurb. But this particular set was designed around the thought of the game of baseball itself. It's called Baseball Rules.
Yes, dude, I knew it.
And so it's a 10-card set. It's die cut and has foil and has texture. And of those 10 cards, all of them would be or should be in the Hall of Fame except one. So it's loaded with stars. That there are a few of the steroid guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame, but otherwise would be, and Troy Percival. So it's like nine.
They took a flyer. They took a flyer on one guy.
Yeah. So, but the cool thing about it, and I'll show you. Here's card number 1, which is Bond. So they're die cut. They have foil down here on the front, and texture, and each one has a usually a fielding position, a picture or something of the batter, except for Griffey, which is another awesome hitting picture. But the card backs are focused on rules or details of the sport itself from the rule book. So, for instance, the Barry Bonds card number 1 is all about fielding percentage, and it cites to the rule book. Here's Major League Rule. I'm blind, so let's see. Major League Rule 10.22D that describes how you calculate fielding percentage. And then underneath, there's a little blurb about Bonds' fielding percentage and how it applies to that particular player. And Jeter is about rookie status, because Jeter there's a blurb at the bottom talking about Jeter's rookie status and how he had been called up and how he would still be considered a rookie the next year. And so there's a definition from the rule book about what is a rookie, how many games can they play, or how many days
That's cool.
on the active roster. And so there's just all of those. The Chipper Jones is a neat one because it's not necessarily from the rule book, but it's about the sport, and it's just a question about reaching first base without getting a hit. And it lists all of the ways that it's possible in baseball. And according to this card, there are 7 ways that you can reach first base without getting a hit.
I could not name those 7 right now. No way.
So
let's see if we can do it as a group real quick. I'll start. Obviously, hit by pitch. There's one.
Intentional walk.
Okay, Luke, give us another
it
one.
Considers walk and intentional walk the same. Yeah.
I was hoping I'd get 2 out of that.
Oh man! All right, so walk, and so we got walk / intentional walk, hit by pitch. We've got a force out at second, so you can get to, or a force out at another base. Are those all under one?
It's all under fielder's choice.
Fielder's choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Fielder's choice. Okay, what's another one then?
Error.
Okay.
Yep.
We've got
4.
Or I'm trying to think. That's 4. You said there's how many?
There's 7.
7.
You'll probably get.
I got another one. I got another one. See, you strike out, but the catcher doesn't catch it, so then you run down first.
Right. Yep.
Okay, that's 5. We got 2 more.
Yeah, you'll get one probably, and you won't get the other.
I think I'm out. I mean, maybe if we weren't live, I can come up with it, but
okay. Oh man. Is there like interference? Is that another one?
Okay.
Interference?
There are 2 interferences. The last
catcher and fielder interference. Catcher and fielders. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So that's all 7.
Okay, nice.
So
I also like that these. I will comment that I like that these aren't just little blurbs for kids about the rules of baseball. Like, this is what a bunt is. It's like rookie status is like, you could read that as an adult and not know rookie status and like, or how to calculate.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is. It's like a
game
or something. How many games played or something, right? Or appeared in or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so here's rookie status if you're interested. It says a player is considered a rookie unless during the previous season he has exceeded 130 at-bats or 50 innings pitched in the majors, or has accumulated more than 45 days on the active roster of a major league team during the 25-man limit period. So that's how you determine whether you're a rookie.
That's crazy.
That one's not for kids. Cool. No kids.
Yeah. I mean, like the Troy Percival, it's about saves, of course, which a closer like that. And you know, if you ever know the save rule, it gets sort of complicated. Okay, yeah, are you up by 3? Then in the last inning, that's a save. But you know, there's more to it than that. Can the winning run be in the on deck circle, or if you pitch more than 3 innings and your team is up, it can be a save even if you're outside of that 3-run window. So there's just all these cool little details in the rules that are found on these cards. Like the Ripken, because you mentioned he was at the end of his career. It's all about Hall of Fame qualifications. What makes somebody eligible for the Hall of Fame? And so there's just so much cool stuff in this set that that to me was all about the sport. And so I enjoyed reading the backs of them more than even looking at the fronts of them. And so I was like, all right, we were given $30. I can get probably 8 of the 10 cards for $30. But I got to get this set. I got to put the set together.
Right.
So
Fair enough. I would just blame it on Griffey for the most part, blowing up.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, we'll have to come back to you, Luke, and ask you some questions maybe about some of the cards on the front, or maybe something that you would change. I have a couple ideas, but Ben, can you start us off with our first category, and then Luke, if one of these cards in your collection falls in that category, feel free to kind of throw it in there if you want.
Yeah, definitely. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 categories for us to break down some of our cards. The first category I chose was nostalgia. So there's the one, Matt or Luke, that fits from the set, Luke, for you, or Matt, that you found that kind of fit that nostalgia, reminds you of a kid or remembering this set or something about it that's very nostalgic in a way.
All right. Well, you want to go first, or you want me to go first on this one?
I don't mind going first, and this will be one of my first cheats. So for nostalgia, this is the one that blew up my shipping, as I got the the original uncut promo that has all 3 looks.
Dang, that's sick! I've never seen that before. That's so cool.
Yeah, the uncut sheet, which is really cool, and it's cool because on the back it has the promo stuff, but it also has like the regular number, the G and the P for the number, like the full on actual card. And you do see this online, but a lot of them have been cut from the original sheet. And for me, this was the nostalgia hit for me, because I remember the card shop I used to go to as a kid. They would always get the promos, and they would always pin them. So they would open the box, because no one was buying full boxes. You only bought packs as a kid. Like a box was not even a thing you considered, right?
Right.
They would open the boxes, flare up the top for you, and they would take the promos and they would like pin them to the top of the box.
Yeah, that's great.
I remember this promo and being like, man, those are so shiny in the name. That's so cool.
Back when they could afford any type of decorative foil on the card without having to think about it.
Yeah, totally.
Days.
So that was my nostalgia hit, and I love having like a full uncut promo piece like that.
That is sick. I love that there's a promo platinum. That also makes me really happy that they have all 3 of them in there. Well, cool. Well, that's a good one. Speaking of card shops, back when I lived in Soldotna, Alaska, there was one card shop, believe it or not. And in that one card shop, I went and got a couple packs of Flair Ultra Hockey. And I remember pulling an insert of a hockey player. Many people don't know this guy, but he was a 40-goal scorer for the Hartford Whalers named Jeff Sanderson. And I remember at one point I owned this insert of Jeff Sanderson, and it's called Speed Merchants. And so here is the Speed Merchants insert. Ooh. And, again, nothing too crazy with the design, but again, for speed, Jean and her husband opted on a race flag, like a racing flag. So I like that there's definitely some sort of theming. And then the S looks kind of like a racetrack. You know what I mean? It looks like a quick couple of hairpin turns there.
Yep.
So I thought that was super cool. But I did own this at one point, and so it was really fun. That was one of the first cards I went and found, because I was like, okay, if I am going to do like all 90s, like mid 90s hockey, I definitely need to go back and get this Jeff Sanderson. So nice. I very much remember him and remember owning this card at one point. So this is definitely the nostalgic card for me. Luke, was there any nostalgia in you collecting that set? Like, do you remember looking for these cards when you were younger, or is this something that you've recently just discovered?
I'm a little bit older, I think, in the sense that I'm 45. And so in 97, I was 17 years old and a senior in high school, and baseball cards weren't my life, but baseball was my life.
Right. Okay.
I in my summer league team, I played like 90 games in 80 days that summer. It was crazy. We went the next summer to St. Louis, and that was when everything went crazy with McGuire and Sosa, and so I saw McGuire take batting practice that year in Busch Stadium, and it hit the facade on the back end of the stadium on line drive. It was crazy. I'd never seen anything like it. But me growing up collecting cards, McGuire wasn't a Cardinal, McGuire was an A, and the Reds swept the A's in 1990 to win the World Series. So I would say the most nostalgic card is the McGuire, picturing him in his A's uniform before he goes over to the Cardinals.
Perfect.
That's great. Love it. Great connection on that one. All right, what are we rolling with next, Ben?
Next, we're going to surprise card, and surprise could be rarity, something you didn't know about, a design element, a part of the card that surprised you when you found that card.
Right.
Maybe through your research or just when you got the card in hand. Just any sort of card that you picked up that surprised you in one way or another.
Okay, well, I'll start and then I'll throw it to you. This doesn't surprise me necessarily on the value of the card. I'm going to start with the front of the card because that's not that surprising. But even if you're not a hockey fan, I'm assuming all three of us know who Peter Forsberg is, right?
Familiar, yep.
He played for the Nordiques and the Avalanche mainly in his career. He was drafted by the Flyers, but one of the greatest players of his generation. But the front of the card, nothing too crazy here, right? See some decafoil, no big deal. Mm-hmm. Cool rookie card. But look at the back here. Let me see if I can get it to. Oh, here we go. So here's what surprised me about the back. I didn't even think about the back, but look at that. 3 different photos, plus the team logo, plus the stats from Sweden. The fact I cannot tell you in the last 15 to 20 years if a card has had 3 separate photos on the back of it. For me, that makes it so cool because that right there, that could have been the front. I mean, obviously you wouldn't do this on the front because the 2 squares, the rectangles just would not work for a card front. But I think it's awesome to have this many photos because the cost for this now, knowing what I know, would be ridiculous. What I mean? Like,
you're thinking the shocker. The shocker of having 3. You're like, what? They spent how much on 3 photos?
Yeah, right. But back then it wasn't like that, because they all had their own photographers. They could go get this stuff. So that was the biggest surprise for me. Going from a card that great full bleed photo, real clear photo for 1994, right? But to have 3 different photos on the back and be able to get 3 different types of shots, kind of headshot, action shot, kind of chill. Love it. Love it. So that was definitely my biggest surprise. How about you?
So my surprise was a subset kind of that I didn't even know existed until I started searching for just Ultra. And in 97 for the All-Star break, they did a fan fest. And at the fan fest, they did a subset of cards from each of the manufacturers, and you had to go to that booth during the fan fest and open a certain number of packs, and then they would give you a promo card from their brand. Yeah, didn't know these existed at all. And so the player they did from each of the brands was Jackie Robinson that year. And so there's a Jackie Robinson Ultra card from FanFest.
That's
you can
sick.
see little on this side, the FanFest logo. You had to go to Fleer and open like a certain number. They didn't say what the number of packs was. But if you opened a certain number of Ultra packs, you would get this Jackie Robinson card.
That's awesome.
It's got a cool back that details like all about Jackie Robinson, his career stats, and another really cool picture, batting stance.
Yeah, classic.
On the back. But I mean, to see like an old school black and white photo with the Ultra design, with the foil and everything on 97, like the juxtaposition is so cool. It's such a great card. And like, again, for me, surprised that I just had never seen, I never would have looked for this without searching for 97 Ultra and like digging in and finding the FanFest cards and then finding this card even existed.
For sure. Well, and I want to just add to that. We've been doing some cleaning lately, and in the our big card library, I found that card just like lying around somewhere, and I didn't know anything about it. Now I do. So that's super, super cool. Luke, have you ever seen those before?
No, I hadn't seen them.
And so
that's awesome.
You should look it up. Go look it up and see all the different ones. So like Pinnacle and Leaf did one. Donruss had one. Upper Deck did one. A different one. And then they also added, because it was in it was the Indians that year, they added a Larry Doby on the end. So there's a Larry Doby Ultra as well.
Very, very cool. Did not know that. I want to say hi to Doug. I'm glad that you made it. I know you've been busy as well. But Doug, if you're still watching, what is your favorite 94-95 Fleer Ultra card? I did want to get a base card of that. but wasn't able to grab that, unfortunately. But cool. Well, that was awesome. So you said surprises. What like Luke? You mentioned there wasn't really any surprises. Like I'd probably go to say the surprise was you deciding to build the set, right?
Well, honestly, the surprise was something I already mentioned, and that was the texture of the card, because
Right.
we in the market right now, it's all about grading cards. It's all about encapsulating your cards, and people just don't feel their baseball cards anymore. And
That's a
so a
good point.
texture on the card now means nothing to anybody. And so when I looked at these cards on the internet and pictures of them, I knew they were die cut. I could tell that there was foil on the front of them, but I took them out when I got them, took them out of the sleeves and the top loaders and whatever they came in, and felt the card, because we should be able to touch our card. I don't care much for graded cards. I prefer my cards raw. There are a couple cards that are graded that I'm going to leave that way, because of the connection to the grade. Like my 96 Mirror Gold, it was from the Pinnacle Executive Collection that got broken up. And so the number on the flip, sort of the serial number, ties it to that collection. But otherwise, I don't, I'd rather my cards not be graded. So,
Right.
And you miss that stuff. I'm a vintage collector too.
Sure.
So I like to touch the vintage cards, to feel the different paper stocks from a 1914 Cracker Jack to a 1955 Topps, and feel the difference and smell the difference. And
Right.
you don't get that if you don't touch the cards. And I never would have realized, had I not taken these out of the sleeves, that there was a texture to them at all.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I love discovering that. That is something that I think we all got to experience as a kid, because the cards were not graded in the cases at the card shop. You get, hey, can I see this card? And you look at it and you see the way the light reflected, like, whoa, that's embossed. Like the Circa bosses were the first ones that really were accessible and all embossed. And I think we all had one of those growing up as a kid, if you were a baseball card collector, because they were cheap, but they looked awesome. Then there was the super bosses, which were on foil. So good stuff there. Love that. All right, Ben, what is our third category here?
So third category is going to be, what did you feel like was your best deal or bang for your buck? Like, did you find one? I guess, Luke, for you, it would be like, were you surprised to grab this player for this price? I guess for Matt and I, it'll be like, did you just find a stellar deal when you were looking around for Ultra? You just went, oh man, I got to snag that one. That's crazy. It's that cheap. I guess, Matt, we were going back and forth.
Yeah, no, Luke. Yeah, we can throw it to Luke and let him start there. Yeah,
Luke.
I'm curious. Like, Luke, what was the cheapest one that you found, or like the cheapest one that should have been more, in your opinion?
I mean, they were all relatively cheap, $5 to $10 for a bunch of Hall of Famers. So I was actually surprised on the opposite end, is that Troy Percival cost as much as Barry Bonds, because there were no other Troy Percivals available, because nobody's listing Troy Percival cards.
Interesting.
So there's only one, and I had one to choose from, and so I bought the one that cost as much as Barry Bonds. But as far as the price, they were all relatively cheap, except for the Griffey. And like I said, I feel like I did okay on the Griffey, snagging it out of that listing for a third of what the last auction went for, and a fifth of what they were going for on Buy It Now. So, and
to remind
Griffey
people,
was probably the best.
Those were, you probably got a lot of those for like a couple bucks a piece, right?
Right.
And those were 1 in 36 packs, so like a whole retail box, you got one, and it was only retail, so you couldn't even get them in hobby. So we're like,
I wonder they're so hard to find.
Yeah, they're really hard to find, and no one kept the Troy. Those got trashed.
Yeah, right.
I've seen one now.
Yeah.
That just goes to show sometimes. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have really tried building sets. I mean, the last set I built was the complete Young Guns goalie set. And I'll just say it right off the top, because I remember it was, and if Name's here, he'll know it. Oh, gosh. Of course, now I'm thinking of the wrong goalie. There's a goalie who played for the Canucks. Never heard of him before. And he was in the first full year of Young Guns, which was 2000, 2001. And it was a guy I never ever heard of him. He was a Native American hockey player. So I actually sent the card to him. I believe a really nice one I had, but took me forever to find it. It was that and another one of 2 goalies I've never heard of before, and they never get listed because they're common. So if you're building sets, a lot of times those common ones tend to be the big pain in the rear. Like trying to find a Joey Cora Super Rave. thank God I own one, would be impossible. But finding a Griffey or an A-Rod or a Bonds or a Larkin, well, that's not going to be that tough because people know they're going to be expensive. So that's pretty cool that you mentioned that. I think for me was how cheap Wayne Gretzky cards are, because yeah, there's a lot, but like I think this was like a $15 or $20 card back when it came out. This is the Premier Pivot, and nothing crazy here. Like, you know, there's not any extra deco or anything here. Kind of, I don't know, like tile-y looking card, but like a great clear picture of Gretzky with those iconic Easton gloves and the Kings uniform. You know, second, third year on the Kings. I can't remember, but what a great card. And I remember that being 15, 20 bucks all day back in the day. And that was like $3 or $4 for me. So for me, is like, you've got all these great Hall of Famers out there in these sets, and we're all experiencing this. And, you know, that's the same price as like, you know, some random Al McGinnis or something, you know what I mean? So it was really surprising to see how many great Gretzky cards were out there. This is the one that I decided on because I didn't get that really nice rare insert for cheap, but I loved the action shot on this one with the, you know, the round helmet and the Easton gloves with the logo showing there. So yeah, I thought that was pretty sick. What about you, Ben?
So
as far as best deal.
Yeah, for best deal, mine. So this one I'll say I'm all in for price of the card, taxes, fees, and shipping at $1.96 for this card. And it is a Jeff Bagwell Thunderclap.
Dude, what?
Yeah, and look at how the foil is amazing. Again, back to what Luke was saying about texture. This card has like texture where the lightning is like indented into the card. This card
is so sick.
It's stunning in person. Like the foil they used is so intricate. It's such a cool card. And that was one of the things that just shocked me, is like, great back to, I love the back of the card too. Lightning and just the look. Like everything about this card is cool. And I wanted one, and I don't have one of Bonds. And I was like, I'm gonna try to get one. His are very expensive, but Jeff Bagwell's market, if you just find somebody throwing a Jeff Bagwell that goes, man, it's not one of the top, you know, tier 1A guys, throw it up there. Yeah, buy it now for $1, all in with the shipping and everything. $1.96 all in.
That's like, crazy.
Such a cool looking card for that price. It's like nuts. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like,
well, and the thing, part of the challenge with this was finding like hidden value in a way, right? And for us, that doesn't have to be what it's technically worth on the open market. We're all talking about things that have nothing to do with value. We're essentially talking about what makes the cards cool. And, you know, yes, some are rarer than others or whatever, but like that Jeff Bagwell should easily be $10 to $20 now, you would think. Easy. Right. You know, the all those cards that Luke put that set together for $100, no way you could have done that when those came out. There's absolutely no way, especially being retail only. You know, I'm looking at all my cards. The only one that's expensive that was over $3 is a card that was 1 out of 4 packs, but for some reason there was only like 5 on eBay. So it's really strange how these 90s cards are working if you're outside of the main, you know, main guys. It's strange, very, very strange to me.
Yeah, and I do want to touch on that retail only thing again. I was thinking about this doing this game. Retail only inserts from the 90s, I think, are really underrated and probably really undervalued. If you think about it, retail, the way it was sold in the 90s, there were some boxes behind counters, but for the most part, it would be like blister pack kind of things, like something a kid would buy. They didn't take care of the cards. It was impossible to hit an insert because you didn't have a full box to go through as a kid, right?
Right.
Pick through whatever, they got dropped. They were in a Kmart on a bottom shelf and something happened. Like, I really think those are a lot rarer than people give them credit for.
Right.
So I learned that looking through this. I was like, oh, retail only is going to be kind of hard to find.
That could be a fun one for the next month, is to find a retail only product, either in hockey or baseball. You can pick the product, but it has to be retail only. I already know what baseball one I would go with if I did baseball for sure. But I don't want to give it away. Okay. All right, what's our last category, dude?
All right. Last was just favorite overall design. And I guess for Luke, that could be like the favorite overall one. For you, probably is like picture and
picture
information and rule on the back. Like, what was just the favorite overall one? But for Matt and I, would just be like favorite overall design that you found while you were looking.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat on this one and show all the goalies because I haven't shown one yet. So I'm going to show all the goalies. Luke, since you're our guest of honor, would you like to start us off? What out of the 10 cards in that set, what's the best photo on there, and what's the photo that could be better? Because I'm curious on how photo selection is.
Well, unfortunately, the best photo is the Griffey. that's not here yet. It's
Oh,
sitting at
okay.
my post office and supposed to be delivered. It was supposed to be delivered Saturday, but it will be here next time the post runs. But it has his classic sweet swing with the bat all the way down at the bottom of his back and back to the
Yep.
swing. So
I know
the
that card.
Griffey,
That's so
the
nice.
Griffey's by far the best photos. The rest of the photos are really blah. There's not much to them. The Bonds is probably the worst photo, I think, and I think I showed that one
Yeah.
where he's just
Looking into
sort
the
of
sun.
going after a fly ball, and the Jeter's pretty bad as well. He's just sort of tracking a ground ball.
That was a typical photo they used of him, though, in his rookie seasons,
Yeah.
his first couple seasons. That's pretty common.
I will say, to give him credit, did they try to line up like a photo with the rule on the back for the most part? Because like the
That's
Bonds
what
one
I'm
is
curious
the
about.
Bonds one is lame, but it's fielding percentage. So
Right. Yeah, maybe they did. The McGuire is slugging percentage, and he's hitting.
No.
Jeter's rookie status, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I was curious about that early on, Ben. I was like, I wonder if they all match, because like I'm already thinking about if I were to do, I'm just going to say it like hockey rules and do it for, if I get the NHL set, that would be amazing for PWHL. If I ever did that for Flair Ultra, how cool it would be to do the rules and put the pictures coinciding. That'd be sick.
Yeah, I guess they do match. The guys that are hitting all have either hitting stats or something unrelated to like the Hall of Fame or those things. But and the pitchers are all shown pitching and with their pitching stats and
okay.
Yeah,
So they made a
so
good faith
did
effort to
match
try to
them.
match him. Okay.
Yeah.
Can we
That's
see
kinda
the
cool.
Percival? I mean, we have, after all we've heard about it, can we see the Percival?
The legendary Troy Percival card.
He was the grunter,
There
the
you go.
legendary grunter. He grunted on his pitches a lot, I thought. That's funny. Dude, how did he make the set? I wish we could definitely check what person is still alive.
I didn't go over the checklist. Listen to these names. Troy Percival, and then you've got Piazza, Ripken, Frank Thomas, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Derek Jeter, Chipper Jones, Greg Maddux, and King Griffey Jr. Like it's a who's who except for Troy Percival.
Well, did he lead the league in saves that year? Previous year, he must have led the league in saves.
In that time period, this was before Rivera even really became a closer.
Yeah.
So
right.
He was the best closer in baseball, and so I get it, but it just didn't pan out long term like Rivera or something else. But yeah, it just sort of stands out.
That's funny. I want to show a couple comments before we show ours here, Ben, because I got to say what's up to Rage. He made it in here. He's currently preparing for or dealing with a hurricane or darn near hurricane.
Ooh,
so hope you're doing all right. Thanks for using the emoji there. That was great. Four Leaf, we haven't chatted with you in a while, but I hope you're doing well, man. I know he's in the the YouTube Hall of Fame now, so congrats on making that. And Rage also said, so sick, I have that Thunderclap Bonds and Griffey.
Oh, yeah.
And they're tough because think about them getting thrown around on the shelf, good condition, super rare. Yeah, exactly. You're right on it. All right. Well, I'll let you finish here, Ben. I'm gonna go and just go ahead and show all the goalies that I found since they all need to be shown. Let me see here. Brent made it. Nice. What's up, Brent? Okay, so I'm gonna go to arguably the best hockey card design of all time, base card wise. I think most hockey collectors will agree 92, 93 is just beautiful. I mean, look at the back. Come on now. Yeah. Like just so wonderful. I love that picture of Barrasso. That was when I became a fan of the Penguins and love the backs of the cards. Here was a fun one I found, the no entry. And it's kind of like a campy insert, but it totally defines the mid 90s, something like this.
Perfect 90s. Yep.
Yep, and obviously goalies in the 90s were so iconic. So I had to get one of Felix Potvin with the Felix the Cat mask. Beautiful piece of art that he's wearing. Next up was a card I thought could have been lenticular when I bought it. Obviously it's not, but it looks like it could have been. This was my most expensive purchase. This was an $8 card. And fun fact about Jim Carrey, obviously everybody hears Jim Carrey. Nobody except probably me thinks of the goalie. So he kind of played into that, and I'm pretty sure the cards on the front were kind of like a little tribute to the mask, because does he do some like gambling or cards or something, I think, in that movie. So he started like adding little Jim Carrey tributes to the mask itself. but then he was out of the league like 3 years later. So kind of crazy on that one. But this was kind of interesting. The award winners. I don't know why Jean went with the a picture. I'm guessing that was Earl's windshield, like her late husband's windshield. They would use pictures of their stuff all the time. So award winners, water. I have no idea, but I really like the deco crest here, like the crest around the logo of the NHL, and it says the name of the trophy real intricately here. So just beautiful, butterfly saved by Brodeur as well. Just love the picture, but yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. And then I got to show the All-Star, like what a cool design, man! Cool. Like just I would love to redo that at some point. But yeah, so the goalie cards are really fun for me. I had a lot of fun tracking all of those down and grabbing a bunch of cards that I would have bought as a kid. So how about you, Ben? You want to finish off in style here?
Yeah, so my favorite overall design might be a bit of a surprise. So I did grab one Bonds, and it's one I would have never considered picking up, but this is the Season Crowns.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to move it. So see the texture on the card?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think I've seen something like this in a long time.
What year is that? That's not 97, right? You bought a 97 again for that?
Yeah, this is 97. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's right when light effects was coming into play, right? Like the Metal Universe, like the etched foil. So that's what's going on there.
Yeah, this is a play on that for sure. It's the same idea, but like the way they did it was so nice. I mean, it's 1 in 8 packs, and I paid $246 for that one, shipped and everything.
That's crazy, dude.
And it's one of those when you look at it in person, like you can look at it and there's just so many detailed etches like on his body, and then all the stamps of the crowns in the background. Like it just looks like so much work went into that card when you look at it.
Right.
It's insane.
That's sick.
It always seemed like Ultra would always do that, where the 1 in 8 pack was this extremely cool insert.
Yeah, like
and
what
the
a
1 in
banger.
72, the Home Run Kings or something every year in the early 90s were just the most boring thing. And it's like,
Ultra would,
because that card is amazing.
Yeah, 1 in 8, or they would do like a 1 in 4 pack where you're like, whoa, this is killer.
I'll chime in on that real quick. I actually brought that up to Jean the other day. I was like, why are the base cards so amazing? And then, I didn't go and say like the inserts aren't as great, but I was like, what was the deal? Like she goes, contrary to what people think now, or like how we think, and I like to try to think this way, is what card are you going to see the most? I go, well, the base card. She goes, exactly. So why don't they need to be awesome? And same with those inserts. I know for a fact that she and Earl said, hey, these are coming more often. We need to still make them great. So I think about that every time. I'm like, okay, I'm doing a 1 out of 6 pack insert. Well, I'm not just going to throw it away. Basically, I'm going to say, okay, what can you add to this that's unique?
Yeah,
they're going to see 3 of these a box. You know what I mean? So while the case hits need to be spectacular, well, these need to have some love and care to them as well. So
I also
great observation.
Strategically too, if you're a kid and you go and you get to buy 1 pack, there's a greater odds that I pull one of these. And now I'm telling my mom and dad, go back and get me 1 more pack. Like talk about getting a kid hooked on a product. If they have a high chance of pulling something that looks amazing, they're going back for more, right?
Right. Are there any others, Ben, that you want to show real quick before we wrap this up?
Yeah, so inside my $30 budget, there's one that has not come in the mail yet, unfortunately. Like I told Matt and Luke earlier, it was PWE, plain white envelope, and everyone's had this happen before. It got stuck in like a PWE black hole somewhere, so it has not arrived yet. But still within inside my $30 budget, I was able to find the David Ortiz. So this one I got all in for $2.73.
That's crazy.
Not the gold medallion or anything, but like a really clean copy of the card. Like if you look at it, there's one tiny fuzzy corner, but these cards are prone to bricking and everything. And this one's like a super clean surface. I actually really like this picture of the 97 cards. Like there's this one in the Fleer card. It has that matte finish. This to me is like my favorite of his like true rookie cards. Like,
that's awesome.
That to me is the one. So the fact that you can buy a Hall of Famer true rookie where he doesn't have that many true rookies, he definitely only has 2 that have that name, not Ortiz on it. There's only 2. You can pick it up for $2.73 if you keep an eye out for it and look for a clean copy, that doesn't happen anymore. Like that's just not a thing. No. So that was one. And then I guess I have to show off this picture because I'm very upset that it didn't arrive. This actually touches on everything we've been talking about with like design and look. So retail only in series 2, they had these top 30 cards. So it was 30 players in the set, and then they did a gold medallion version, which was 1 in 18. You can kind of see in this picture, like, look at the embossing on there.
It's all
So
over the card.
it's all over Eddie Murray. It's fully like embossed. It's die cut. It's got the gold finish. I mean, everything about that is like such an attractive card. Retail,
That's sick.
and that one I paid $573 for a guy that hit 500 home runs. So like,
That's crazy.
if you're looking and you're not looking just in your like with your blinders on for your player, you can find some super cool stuff, and that's what made this absorb all my time the last 2 years. Looking, researching, having so much fun finding stuff that I wouldn't have thought about picking up.
I think we can all agree that this, hopefully for people who are listening now and listen later, get them to think a little bit like, maybe I can go do this, either collecting for myself or just do it for fun. Maybe broaden your horizons a little bit. I actually saw, I'm sure you guys follow the big Randy Johnson collector on Instagram. I don't know what his exact Instagram name is. Seems like a super nice guy. But he posted in a story, it's like Kermit looking out at, or some dude looking out on a rainy window, and it's like me waiting for Randy Johnson cards that will never pop up. And I said, dude, you got to get some side quests going. Like Luke, as hyper focused as you are with Larkin, I love that you talked about going and grabbing little things here and there, because again, we're trying to keep the hobby fun. The joy of the hobby needs to stay here, right? And this is an example of doing that, right? Like how much fun was it for all of us, right? Going out and just discovering these new things. Like, I think if you're a true hobbyist, this is such a fun exercise to think, how can I continue having fun without having to find like that one big card and getting that big high, and then when it comes in, you're done for another month, So,
and if you play it this way as a game too, it's a memory you can have for forever, right? Like, now I'm just gonna be thinking about Luke having that set, and I'll be thinking about, well, I need to have the bonds now because it's such a fun piece with the back information about the rule. Like, you'll notice, Matt, I one-touched all of these, which is something I don't normally do, even a $2 card. But these are going to go in like a separate section of my collection. Is like, this is the game I played, and I'm just going to earmark them with the date and like keep them forever. Is like, this was the game I played. Now remember this episode and this exercise.
Sick. I love it, dude. I will definitely I think I have 9 cards here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 exactly. So they'll fit in one page, and they're going to go in their own, their own area of the binder where I can flip right to it. Probably at the top, just because it'll be a fun way to start the 90s binder off, remembering that. So Luke, I'm going to start with you here. Any closing thoughts after kind of going through this exercise? Like anything else you'd like to mention, or something to the people watching?
I mean, I had a blast, and I think I've talked about all my experiences through doing it. Like I said, though, I'm serious, and I will give this away to the viewer, the entire set. So I don't know how you want to work that. If you want to make it so whoever leaves comments on the video or something like that, maybe next episode you can choose a comment or something like that, or whatever you want to do. But I want some viewer to get to enjoy these cards as well. Awesome. I've already looked through them. I've read them. I've felt them. I've gotten a lot of enjoyment out of them, and why not pass it along to somebody else who might get an enjoyment out of it as well? So
we'll plan on getting something together, Matt, and we can announce on the next episode, like how we're going to give that set away, and we'll figure out how we can do that. But that is so cool, and bring joy to somebody else in the hobby. I think that's such a fun way to do that, and I think that's a good way to kind of. We'll talk about how we can introduce that aspect to playing the game, and how we can figure out a giveaway part of playing this game. Because I think it's part of like roping people in and maybe doing a trade or a giveaway as part of this. But I had so much fun doing this. Absolutely fun.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And it's fun how the idea morphed again. I know you were like, let's do a box break. And I was just thinking, well, if we're trying to, get people to go do something similar, not everyone can afford a box, even especially now, but being able to buy what would have taken us multiple boxes to put together, especially for you guys, whether it was retail or hobby, for $30 or around there, like we had a ton of fun, and we found some really, really cool cards. And I think that is something that a message we're trying to get to everybody is, hey, there's really cool cards out there for really cheap that you can enjoy. And I think when my time is done on this earth, I want to feel like I've just had fun collecting. Yeah, the big cards are always going to be big and exciting, but like, those are always going to tie me to my childhood, along with those cards that you guys got. And that's always what's going to ultimately be fun. So Yeah, it was a good time for me as well, and it was fun getting, especially that Jeff Sanderson card again. I remember that fondly, for sure. So yeah, good stuff, guys. Well, really appreciate it, Luke. We will find a way, Luke, to do. I have an idea that I'm going to run by us when the episode's over. But to everybody that watched, I want to give you a big shout out, Brent. We're glad that you can make it here. Hopefully, you can go back and watch the rest of the rest of the content. I know you made it in here a little bit late, but Rage, Four Leaf, Doug, Jeff, and Name, thank you so much for being here, and everybody else who didn't have a chance to leave a comment. I know we had a couple people in here that probably didn't get a chance to, but and we didn't get your dad's introduction. I feel so bummed.
I took care of it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
We had it covered. We had it covered.
For sure. All right, guys. Well, I hope, Luke, thanks again for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. And Ben, always good to get on here and have fun. And we'll see everybody in a couple weeks.